I'm getting ready to put on
the front bumper.
And I just did a temporary installation of this filler panel. Basically just put in the bolts that are here, and then here's the third one. And I'm not going to put the bolts, the other bolts, which are down there. There's one there, and then there's another one over here. So I'm not going to put those on, as obviously I would have to remove this filler panel later on for when I paint it. But I just want to put the front bumper back on, so that way I don't have bulky items just laying around in the garage. So I prepared the nuts inside and out with my truck bed coating, and it's going to be mounted onto the subframe right there and over there. And I also prepared the bolts and the nuts to connect it onto the subframe. So this shaft here, which is the piston, which I did not modify, so it's original, it's extended in its original state. It's going to go into that hole, and it's going to be attached to the back there with the bolt. So I'm going to put that on right now, and then I'll show you after it's all done. Well, the bumper is now installed, and the car is sitting pretty low. I'll show you how low it is. So it's very low. Now with the added weight of the bumper, the car went down all the way to its bump stops. Let me show you what that looks like. So basically you can see it's right there towards the bump stops. So it's very low. So that means I'm gonna have to get some new springs. With the weight of the 454 big block, and of course the bumper, and I still got windshields and the rest of the front end to install, it's sure to definitely be riding right on the bump stop. So future plans is to get a coilover setup. I want to be able to keep the car low. I'll show you how low it is. I like the low look, but it's just a little bit too low because I have no upward travel for the wheel. Now these are not the rims that's going to be on the Nova. In the end, these are just rollers for now. But that gives me an idea how low the car is going to be sitting, and it's pretty darn low. So I want to get some coilover setups for it. I'm going to probably go with the QA1 and most likely 550 pound springs. The springs that's on this Nova now are 380 pound springs, and obviously it does nothing to hold the car up. I did install the glass for the sides, and I polished them up and got them all nice and clean. And I go to the other side. I didn't install the rear glass or the front glass. I need to get a new front glass, and I do have the rear glass. And then here's the other glass for the sides. And they came out pretty sweet, polished and really clean. So let's show you what I did to the engine bay. You heard my solenoid open up the hood, so now you can see that the engine's all covered up. So let's get a look at the engine. Just trying to keep the engine nice and clean, and that's why I keep it all covered. Where's my light? Let me get my light. Okay. So the only thing I did to the engine was I started doing the routing of the vacuum lines. So this vacuum line goes to the PCV breather. This is actually a PCV valve that looks like a breather. And there's a reducer here. And I have it capped off now. But this line actually goes to my canister there, which is a vapor canister. And you see there's three fittings. So that one will be the first one. The second one will be this one here. And you see I just have it capped off. This side of the carburetor is a ported vacuum, so it has very little to no vacuum when it's at idle. But when I, move the accelerator, it starts to get vacuum. And this actually goes towards the canister as well. And then there's one more that actually goes to a fitting on the bottom there. It's actually a vent for the fuel tank. So I have it covered up now so I don't evaporate all my fuel. The other things I did was I finally routed the power brake. And you can see I have the lines crossing each other. The power brake line crosses over the accelerator cable. And I did it in such a fashion so that I have this kind of curve that matches this one. And I did that so that I have a clean look. And it's routed behind the coil and into a fitting right there. And that fitting is for or from a Camaro. And so the last vacuum connection that I did was behind the carburetor. Since I'm no longer using that vacuum line from the carburetor for the brakes, I decided to get a reducer from Home Depot and route it straight to my distributor canister. So that kind of gave me a nice clean, no clutter look. And it brings the vacuum line really close to the carb, so I have a quick response. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the final things that are needed before the engine is all done. Just the vacuum lines. But that's pretty much it for the updates. There's not much more. Like I said, I got the bumper on. You can see the filler panel there. I will be removing it from the bumper when I'm ready to paint it, but for now it's good there. And you can see the space from the bumper and the body, and it kind of matches the back of the car. And that's what I wanted. I still wanted the space because the front was going to have a space. And that was the whole purpose of this filler panel modification that I did. It was a little bit too big originally, but now I kind of like it better short, and it makes the car look kind of symmetrical. So there's just a couple updates. That way you guys know what's going on. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching.